Well, good morning. It's been a while since we did a short video. We're going to concentrate on a few topics this morning. One of the major topics is Fukushima still leaking. Not very many people are aware of that. Along with the Fukushima incident, the years of doing this, granted, the YouTube is just another tool. Haven't been doing the YouTube all that much or all that long. I did have a video produced a few years back about Fukushima. But however, Fukushima is almost 8.5 years of non-stop leaking. And we've got some issues. We're going to discuss a couple of them here. Over the years, all over the reports, the many different incidences we've had, different articles and reports, there are many of us that know Fukushima was 1,000 times worse than Chernobyl. With that said, 1,000 times worse than Chernobyl. By the way, one of the articles, they're turning Chernobyl into a tourist spot. Not such a good idea. I read part of the article this morning, and you get tested going in, and when you get tested coming out, and you have to have long sleeves, full pants, and closed shoes. And if you get tested when you come out and it's too hot, your clothes can be confiscated. I don't know if that's such a great idea for a tourist spot. Never did like it. But anyway, back to Fukushima and Chernobyl. Fukushima, like I said, we've got reports from the older days, early days, that Fukushima was 1,000 times worse than Chernobyl. Well, now we've discovered an ongoing problem at the Marshall Islands from the early days of testing nuclear. The dome in the Marshall Islands are leaking, and the reports are now that the Marshall Island is 1,000 times worse than Fukushima and Chernobyl. So keep that in mind. That whole ocean is contaminated. Southern hemisphere, northern hemisphere, everything circles. Currents carry it, and we've got a problem. Well, along with the nuclear, we've got aged nuclear power plants right here in America that are causing problems just as much as Fukushima and Chernobyl. And the incidents that we've got with that is we have Turkey Point down there west of Miami leaking, and we have Indian Point up north of DC leaking. Keep those two locations in mind as this next topic we're going to discuss and talk about. The Gulf Coast. This spring we had a lot of major flooding up and down the plains states in the center of the country, and early on I posted an article discussing the river veins where all of the drainage of the flooding goes. Now when you have major flooding where communities, towns are completely submerged, you have so much cross-contamination going on with sewage, the early springtime spraying of the agriculture. All of these chemicals pose a problem. And when you get washed out and you got dams breaking, you got all these farming communities underwater and the water runoff. these river veins are taking it down to the Gulf Coast. Well, this week, over the week, last weekend and early part of the week, we had a tropical storm come up and hit the coast as a low-grade Hurricane 1. When you get tropical storms stirred up in the Gulf Coast, you got to remember the BP oil mass. All the suppressants, all the chemicals used to suppress the oil. And then you got the flooding, you've got the runoff of all of the chemical, and we've got a problem with the hurricane coming in, stirring up the Gulf Coast. And then there's a video that's on my page on Mid-America Land Restoration, they're on Facebook, of a bunch of beached whales. And people are wondering why. Well, there's a section of beaches down there that they closed because of bacteria and the flooding. They didn't say flooding, no, they just said bacteria. Well, when you look at the fact that we've got all of this flooding, all of these chemicals, all of these suppressants, all of this toxic soup, and then Turkey Point leaking, things get disoriented and confused. The whales, the seals, all of this, even in our Gulf Coast, aren't healthy. They're hungry because of what's been going on over the years between BP oil mass and Turkey Point. And then you add the flooding, and then you add the hurricane. It just stirs everything up. It just goes to show that mankind has created a toxic soup all the way across our country. Well, one of the common things, flesh-eating bacteria and all of these other indices that are causing problems, can all be cleaned up and dealt with. You got to understand how our natural microbes play such a role in cleaning these things up. So keep in mind, we have a simple solution to cleaning up the toxins man has created. Microbes have been on this planet and in our environment since the creation. We need to be putting our microbes back in front of the chemical use. This chemical use, chemical onslaught, all of this has got to be dealt with and can be dealt with and cleaned up naturally with microbes. So come on, folks, pay attention. Come get the news over there on Mid-America Land Restoration. They're on Facebook. Share, look, read, share these videos. And by all means, find the article that's pinned to the top of the page of the campaign funding, crowdfunding, to make more noise, to get more people to understand we can do something. I can't be the only one doing it anymore. So I've called an action together with a campaign for everybody to get involved. It takes money to get involved. It takes money to fight. And hence is the reason for the campaign. So find the campaign, help fund it. Everybody pull together, get educated to understand things can change. We can clean this all up, and we can have a better environment for ourselves and our children and everybody else involved. It is very important. Come on. It is very important that everybody gets involved and understand we can do something. It can all be turned around. It can all be cleaned up. Mid-America Land Restoration here on YouTube. Mid-America Land Restoration, they're on Facebook. And the business side of the information which you won't find any news at. You just find the business side, midamericalandrestore.com. Find the web, find the info, hit us up, campaign, fund it. Let's all pull together, work together, and let's get something done. Have a good day.